Repeat after me.
After me.
I am a product of divinity. I am a reflection of that which I behold. Say it again. I am a product of divinity. I am a reflection of that which I behold. Give your neighbor a high five and then take a seat. It is at the moment that we remember and are reminded of and realize and recognize that we are a product of divinity. I'm not up here to preach a sermon to you. I'm not here to convert you to believe something that you don't already believe. But what is obvious and what is evident is that you did not create yourself. What is obvious and evident is that you are a product of something bigger than you are. And so you are a part of a larger puzzle piece. It is also very evident that that which you place in front of you is that which you will copy and mimic. And so if all you've placed in front of yourself are the ideas or the narratives of things that have said you are less than, then your life will reflect that which you have placed in front of yourself. So we sat here and we watched a panel of these individuals that have gone through hell and back and lived to tell the story. And one thing that jumped out with each individual story is that you have to come to the point that you recognize that you are not always the narrative that you believe about yourself. And sometimes circumstances and situations happen to us that give us a belief system about ourselves which might appear to be true on the surface, but in reality is far from the truth. If I had a topic for today, it would be finding your voice. Because we all know that when we're born into this world, the first thing the doctor does is he spanks us on our bottom because he wants to hear that cry. That cry, although it seems like it's giving a sense of pain from the baby, that cry is a sense that everything's okay. Because the baby that's not crying is not healthy. So they spank you on your butt and you cry, and for the first time in your life, you articulate your voice. Unashamed, unabashed, unhindered. You are ready to take on the world because somebody has done something that you didn't quite like. And you have found your voice. And that's how we are. That's what we're designed to do. We're designed to have a voice. Why is this? You believe what you want, but I believe the Bible, and it says in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth, and he talks about how God said something, and so creativity is a result of speech. And you don't have to believe this from a theological standpoint, but you do know from an entrepreneurial standpoint is those things that you articulate, those things create something. If you want a business, you must articulate it in some form or fashion. If you want a new idea, you must articulate it. You must express it in some form or fashion. And as long as you continue to express that which is on the inside of you, you will continue to create that which does not exist. But the moment you stop articulating, the moment you stop saying, is the moment you stop creating. The moment you stop expressing is the moment that you stop creating. And so as a child, we're spanked on our butt and we begin to express and articulate. But then as we grow older, we go to school, or when we're babies and we're crying and we're expressing or articulating because that's the only form of expression that we understand. And then somebody starts to tell you to hush. Someone starts to tell you that your expression is not necessary in this moment. And I understand that there's a time and a place for everything. But think of the training that we go through, where naturally we express ourselves, but as we grow older and we go through situations, we're told not to express ourselves. We're told that our expression is not welcome in these environments. And then you get domesticated to the point to where you don't express at all. And so we go through our lives experiencing trials and tribulations and horrors and terrors. And what do those things do for us? Many times, instead of us wanting to speak up and speak for ourselves and express who we are, those things cause us to take our voice and hide it somewhere. Because we're getting tired of being shushed by life. And every time we go through an obstacle and we want to speak out, we find ourselves again being shushed by life. And then at some point, life tames you to the degree to where you don't feel like you have anything to offer anymore. Because the moment you offer your mouth, somebody's got their finger over their lips telling you to be quiet. Losing your voice. The most terrifying dream I've ever had is the dream where you see something that's going on and it scares the living daylights out of you, and you get ready to speak up and nothing comes out. Am I the only one that's had a dream like that? Raise your hand if you've had a dream like that, where you go to scream and there's nothing there. What happens? You feel powerless. You feel defenseless. I can't do anything because I have no voice. And you listen to our culture and everything that's going on. We're talking about we have a voice, we have a voice, we have a voice. But how many people feel like they don't have a voice? And they won't speak, and they won't talk, and they won't express themselves because somewhere someone told them no. And then we believed them. And we have allowed situations and life and people to rob us of the very thing that we were given for the purpose of creating, our voice. You know, science is starting to prove that smaller than atoms are these things called quarks. And quarks are sound waves. And so everything that we see is a manifestation of a sound. The creativity is in your voice. And when you don't have a voice, you're not creating. And that becomes a safe place for some people because we don't want to be shushed. We don't want to have that reaction where you flinch. You know what it means to flinch? Where every time I raise my hand, I hit you across the face, and then one day I raise my hand and you don't want to get hit, so you flinch. And my question to you is, how many of us have adopted a position of flinching in our lives? And we've stayed in that position of flinching, holding back from our position of strength because we're tired of the blows that life throws. So I'm thankful for those of you that have come to a conference like Mastering Manhood, because the idea and the vision behind Mastering Manhood is much like the story of the Little Mermaid, where Ariel traded in who she was. She traded in her voice for something that she thought she wanted. And she gave her voice away to somebody else to put in their shell. And a place like Mastering Manhood exists so that you can come having given away your voice to somebody else, and they can have it locked up in their shell for you to wake up to the fact that what you are and who you are, you've given it to someone else, and it's time for you to take it back. It's time for you to wake up from that dream where you open your mouth and nothing comes out, because you know that you were born and given something on the inside of you that's destined to come out. And my question to you is, if creation comes through saying, and if creation comes through your voice, who are you robbing of your creations that will save their lives because you won't speak? Who's waiting for a world to be created that is your responsibility and your destiny to create, but you haven't done it yet because you're afraid of what might happen if somebody else tells you to close your mouth? Finding your voice. And sometimes we find, or we think we have found our voice, and we find ourselves distorting our voice. Anybody see Avengers, the last one? And so Star-Lord is in there and Thor shows up. And Thor's got this real deep voice, and he's talking like this, and Star-Lord's like, well, I'm looking like this too. And Thor's like, are you mocking me? He's like, no, I'm not mocking you. And he was mocking him. But he's distorting your voice. Why are you distorting your voice? Sometimes we distort our voice because we want to make ourselves appear to be something that we're not, because we feel intimidated by something else. Because we feel like what we have isn't enough to get the job done, so I have to make myself seem bigger than what I am in order to cause you to back down. Because I come from a place of fear. Anybody ever upset a cat? You know, a cat bows its back up. What's it trying to do? It's trying to make itself seem bigger than what it really is to intimidate the oncoming attack. Distorting our voice. But how many of you know if you keep your voice speaking in a way that your voice was not originally designed to speak, you will stress and strain your vocal cords, and you will not have a healthy expression. You will have a distorted expression. And this is not about finding someone else's voice. This is about finding your voice and expressing your voice. And one of the strongest things a man or a woman can do is get to that point to where they open their mouth, unashamed, unabashed, unafraid, and they give the world what they have on the inside of them, but not from a place of pain. You sat here and watched these gentlemen up here talking about one of the things we all need is vulnerability, because every time we continue to hide within ourselves that which we have been hurt by, we distort our own voice because our voice is tattered and stained by the pains that we've all gone through. And one of the strongest places you can ever get to in your life is a place where you no longer ignore the pain, but you stand upon the pain because you know the pain could not destroy you. The pain was designed to destroy you, and other people have gone through things that you've gone through and not come out alive, but you're still here. So if the pain couldn't kill you, then how long are we going to allow the pain to distort our voice? I had the flu one time, and I was sick for a while, and as my body was healing from the flu, I noticed that on the other side of that, my voice was gone. And so I started speaking a certain way because that's what it felt like. And I got conditioned to talk that way. But then one day it's like, you know what, why don't you try talking normal again? And so that's my challenge to you today. Why don't you try to start talking normal again? How long are we going to allow the circumstances that we've gone through dictate who we are? Now, I will say this, circumstances and situations help clarify who we are. Because how many of you know that you can act one way and then go through hell and then figure out that act wasn't so worth it? Because the situation has changed who you are and you begin to awaken to a new reality. And the new reality is, I don't need this in this season. Jackets are good when it's winter. And jackets are appropriate when it's winter. And so there are certain things that we have to do to survive certain seasons of our life that when we grow out of those seasons, it's not the season to wear what we were using before. Diapers are good when you're a baby. And when you're older. But when you have the strength to function on your own, we see the person that's 35 years old that doesn't have any mental, anything going on wearing a diaper. That's a little awkward and strange. Why are you doing that? Yet how many of us as grown men bring with us the toys of our past that we won't let go of? Because we're afraid to use our own voice without the comfort blanket behind us. What's your comfort blanket? What's the thing that you haven't let go of yet that served you well in one season of your life, but now you've matured to another season of your life? What is it time to let go of? Who is it time to let go of? The very thing that you're holding on to could be the very reason why your voice doesn't have the power that it should. The very thing you refuse to let go could be the very thing keeping your voice turned down a little bit lower than what it should be. We're finding our voice today. You are a manifestation of the divine. There is a logic and there is a thought that is greater than you, that is designed for you to be here right now. And with that design has given you an assignment. And with that assignment has given you a group of people that need what you have. And the moment that you step up to your place, like we've seen many of our speakers here come and inspire and build up. The moment you step up to your place, like the guys that worked with me that said, hey, what can we do to fulfill our dreams, and created a conference like this. The moment you step up to your place, the world that needs to be created to satisfy the need of those people that are called to you, it comes into fruition. But you've got to find your voice. And here's one of the easiest ways you can find your voice. Community. And here's one of the easiest ways you can lose your voice. Community. You see, because you become a reflection of what you look at. You are a reflection of that which you behold. And so if all you've ever done is behold those that don't have much to offer, then guess what you will manifest in your life, because that's just the way it works. I was challenged in the last several years of my life to put myself around people that were not comfortable with me just staying the way I was. I didn't say not being the way I was, because they accepted me. I said not staying the way I was. And if your community doesn't challenge you to be better, then may I suggest to you that your voice is muffled. If your community does not challenge you to be more, and they don't even have to say anything, you just get around the group of people and be like, wow, I should probably be doing more with my life. If your community doesn't challenge you to do that, then may I suggest to you that the volume on your voice might be a little bit lower than what it could be. And then my next question to you would be, are you okay with that? Everybody talks about you got to be a self-made man, and we live in a world of this hyper-individuality where we make it sound like the only way to become what you're supposed to be is when you get by yourself and just do the thing. Let me tell you right now, anything in this world worth being done and that will impact is going to require you to be discipled by somebody else. And then not only is it going to require that you be discipled by somebody else, it's going to require that you be held accountable to what you've committed to by somebody else. And so here we are back at community. Places like this exist to give you an opportunity to meet somebody that you may not have known. And you have something in common with somebody that you may not know in this room, is that both of you are committed to mastering manhood. And there's something else you need to know about the brother that's here. That brother recognizes that being a man is not a destination, it's a journey. And so what better place to find a community to find your own voice? Peter, who you saw on the stage earlier, has this group where he meets up with a group of leaders. And at the time when I first met Peter, I was in a position where I wasn't quite sure what my voice was because I had gone through enough to make me get quiet and not want to talk much anymore. But something happened in that environment is that Peter, although he was comfortable with me being who I was, wasn't satisfied with me staying where I was. Guys like Matt and Dr. Ryan, Isaac Rowe, were not comfortable with me staying where I was, although they accepted me for who I was. But I found that as I spent more time with these kind of people, I saw something in myself that I wasn't giving attention to. And so I said to myself, am I going to stay here, or am I going to find my voice? 2 years later, here we sit, second annual Mastering Manhood Conference, 2 books in. Life's getting good. But why? It's not because I'm some arrogant hothead that just needs to have my name everywhere.
Not just because of that.
Not just, although that's part of it. But we wanted to create something that other people would be challenged to do the very thing that created this conference. Find your voice and dream big and do it afraid. But have people with you that hold you accountable to pursuing your own dreams and your own passions. I will close with this, and then we'll give some prizes away, and then y'all can go home. You are a manifestation of the divine, but you are a result and a reflection of whatever image you behold. So what are you looking at? Is what you're looking at fully expressing the manifestation of the divine that you are? Or is what you're looking at just a minute shadow of what you've been hiding behind? Would you please stand with me, gentlemen? Turn to your neighbor and say, I'm glad you're here. All right, look at him real big and smile in his face and say, I'm glad you're here. Give yourselves a hand clap. You made it all the way through.